Right. Let's see if I can make this guy go on guard. Good enough. That's a good fucking armature. All right. If I look cooler, more adept, and more competent than usual, but it might be because of my cool guy Puppet hat signed by Yvette Young, lead guitarist. Love you, Yvette. Mwah. Um, but it is probably because I earned my D recently, my D 2023. D for Doofus at the Hangover Walk and Roll on Monday. So go meet Frank. And it only took me 5 years. So we're gonna do the same thing that we did with the Billy Meckling tournament. This one was a pool of 8, so the video might run a little long. So grab a snack, beverage, vice of your choice, whatever, and let's get right into it. Usually my go-to action off the line, like for the very first touch, is a fall short. So I've just been kind of trying to break myself out of that habit. Better give me that point. Yeah, better give me that point. Yada yada. There we go. Nice. I'm so good at saber. Just delayed the hand a little bit, not intentionally. I was just bad, but it worked out. So far, um, yeah, I try to be cognizant of like using the tactical wheel and stuff, but the thing that always gets me with that is that, presumably, the other person is also aware of the tactical wheel, so it's like I never know how far down or like around to shift, in terms of like what actions I'm gonna choose. So it's like if I go for um, a simple attack twice the way I've done it before, right? It's like logically maybe the next best action for me to do would be like some sort of attack composé or compound attack, right? Because now he's probably going to be looking for a parry. Um, but then, it's just, it never quite works out that way. It's like you're always kind of having to assume that the other person is picking that action and then like cycling ahead of it. I don't know if that makes any sense, but that's kind of why I was like, oh, maybe now I should pull. And that's what I so it's like that happened just like one touch later than it should have. Lucky. I get away with too many of those. And it's not really like any sort of skill involved in those. It's just like, oh man, we've both mangled the distance and now like who can release the blade and kind of get back onto the other person in time. So I wish that I would stop getting those as much, just that way it would stop happening to me. Very piss poor management of distance on my part. Simple attack, you know. So maybe now, this is my first time watching these with any sort of scrutiny. Again, I kind of just went through them just to make sure they were there. But um, yeah, what should I do? I'm gonna say that I'm gonna go for a long attack. Yeah, yeah. So okay, bout not bad. Especially for the first one, just starting off. Let's see. Okay. Dude, okay. So, this girl, about offense, I believe her name is Ola. She refereed my last DE at the Billy Meckling tournament. And this is my first time seeing her fence, and also I was just not aware that she was an A. But this is like the scariest person I've ever fenced. Super intense. Anytime that she wasn't like on the strip, she had like her headphones on. She was just and I was like, dude, you're gonna eat me alive. And she did. She chewed me up and spit me out. But definitely learned a lot about just like good middle game habits from fencing her and from watching her fence that I'm gonna try to implement. later on at maybe I think I have another tournament in like 2 weeks or so, so we'll see. It's scary as hell though. Silly me thought that I was gonna put on an okay show at least and get 3 touches perhaps. Miss. And so right here, there's another bad habit of mine. It's like I'll miss, and then immediately I'm like, okay, like I gotta sneak in the counterattack or some sort of second intention action while they're kind of like recovering and like preparing to march. Um, and it's like, I can kind of see the logic behind that, my own logic, but I just have like massive amounts of strip to work with. It's still way better to make them work. Even if you get hit at the end of the strip, it's like the way I look at it is like it's it's way better to make them work and make them expend that energy to get the touch than to just hand it over to them right away, right? Gotta play the long game. Yeah, shake that head some more, dog. That was not good. Ah, silly. My one touch the entire match. So yeah, right here. This whole thing is gonna be highlights of my bad habits. This is not a great tournament for me. So yeah, I take the blade and then I immediately like slap the point down instead of actually like picking an open line and extending the arm. And yeah, it's like if they're at all quick, which she is like hyper quick, they're gonna pull that every time, right? So you wanna maybe in that situation hold the riposte and make like a step and then a lunge or anything else besides just like kind of reflexively instantly riposting. So luckily it worked out. I don't know if I really set that up that well either, but so I kind of caught her. And again, none of this is happening like super cerebrally while I'm on the strip or something. But I think it's good that I picked a moment to go, and when she was kind of changing lines, like in preparation, hand pretty far back, and that's the only reason I was able to pull that off. So good job, me. Yeah, I thought maybe I'd picked it up, but she was pretty in control of the blade there. And she's really good about kind of like those in and out kind of actions where, you take 2 small steps forward and then pull a little bit of distance and start your long attack. She's just chewing me up with those. It's very hard to pick apart um, what a good action would be in the middle because her feet and her footsteps are so small. So it's like even if I wanted to launch a direct attack, I was scared of getting parried. Or if I was gearing up for a long attack, she was very crisp and ready to hit me. So it was just a difficult bout. I was just severely outfenced, but I'm happy that I got the experience anyways. It's a good time. I'm lucky. Miss. And just a little lazy on the feet there, right? It's like I should have been, let's see, right here when she beats the blade right there. It's like I should have started pulling because at this distance, again, it's a matter of making them work for the touch. It's still better when they go for that aggressive of a beat to kind of back up and open it up a little bit and then start wheedling your way back in. Um, because where am I even going with this? Uh, you stand more to lose by trying to like call their bluff and being like, okay, you're not going to finish right after this beat. But you have so much strip, especially in this context to work with still, that it's better just kind of concede that distance a little bit and then try again from a safer starting point. So that's what I should have done here. Just way too late to get out of the way. Yikes! Oh, yikes. Um, I should just never flunge off the line. Probably learn how to, really, because I see a lot of people pull it off, and I'm always like curious like as to how it works, especially when they get against me, because it always seems like it comes out so quick, but I feel like I don't have um proper understanding of like how a flunge off the line, like directly out of the box is supposed to work. Because mine seem to take a long time. Like she hits me in prep so early. but like I should yeah, never do that again, sir. Um, so yeah, I got absolutely demolished there. Um, properly, properly out fenced. Shout out Ola, you're so fucking good at this. And oh yeah, dude, fuck the paramedics had to come because some guy like I don't know, I think he like ruptured his like Achilles or something, and I'm already wearing an ankle brace and my Achilles is hurting, and it's just like it's making me like hyper paranoid for the rest of the bout. I was like, oh my God. Oh, whoever you are, I hope you have a speedy recovery. That looks really bad, and I'm sorry that happened to you so early in the tournament. That really sucks. So you can't see it here. So you have to take me at face value, but I got like a pretty sick counter parry after my failed flunge. And there's another thing about my flunges, right? Is that even like I feel comfortable using them outside of the box, but even when I do, it's kind of like this like starfish kind of like pose where my legs are coming apart like that. I'd really like to get to a point where they're kind of like those pretty like Gerald Homer flunges where like the feet are together and it looks like very concise and not concise, but like it's I don't know. You'll see. I flail a bit when I flunge. Blech. So yeah, that was a big ego booster. Anytime you hit a counter parry, it's like you just got to ride that high for the rest of the bout because it's just like it's a big flexor action. I wish I had caught it on video. So again, kind of this time it worked out. I did the same thing that I just reprimanded myself for in the other one, where I miss and then I'm immediately kind of looking for the counter attack. So let's watch that one again. Right, quick. My nose is kind of runny. So yeah, right there, first of all, should not be dropping the hand. That's like such a bad habit of mine. I don't do it all the time, but if you drop the hand, there's just not enough time to either remise, which I mean, it's not really going to happen most of the time, but if there is an opportunity to remise, you've just taken that away from yourself. And you're also like way less likely to catch a counter or a parry off of their make miss. So yeah, in short, just always leave the hand out there. You can pull arm if they're start like to go for the wrist or whatever, but in general, it's a much more threatening and efficient position to end in than just like dropping the arm right away because then you're just open. So right here, I search first, and then I was kind of counting on him wanting to finish right after my failed search, so I thought it'd be okay to go in for the counterattack. It ended up working out. So it was an okay setup. Maybe the search was a little too big, a little too sloppy, but it was okay. It was a good idea. I think just like not the best execution. I so right there, I got kind of caught. There, whoopsie. Next one. I was doing that slow like stutter step setup and that preparation because I was looking for a parry, but like halfway through, I was like, oh, should I have gone for in step? And then it was just like it was just too late, and then I couldn't go for the parry either. So always just commit to whatever action you're kind of picking off the line. You'll see right now. All right. Should I go for prep? Nope. And then by the time I decide to pick up the parry, way too late. Pick something and commit. Very lucky on that one as well. Kind of just grazed either the wrist or the bib, I want to say. Yeah. Again, that kind of starfish flunge thing going on. Not the most aesthetically pleasing thing ever. Nice. So I'm doing an okay job, but I think here's when I just start like throwing. Right. Same thing. So same touch that happened on the last one. I'm unsure. Kind of going in swashbuckler mode, right? Where I'm like looking without having any idea of like what my options are going to be based on what I see. So I'm just kind of getting caught mentally in this like, oh, prep or parry, I don't know, and then it's way too late. Twice in a row, or not twice in a row, but twice in this bout. Yeah, I just pulled my arm a little too short there instead of just taking an extra step and finishing, and he's able to counter that out. So yikes. That one was it was the correct action to take, but I committed a little too deep, and then I also think my hand was a little too low. Yeah, so it should have kind of been more at like hip height here. Since my tip was so low, it's just there's not enough time to come up and grab the blade before he hits through to the chest. For distance management. Ooh, for LaBelle, who's it gonna be? Got pretty lucky again. He was preparing just a little bit, and I just committed. So again, it's like a lot of the time, um, it's a lack of commitment that is gonna lose you the touch, even if it's like the correct idea. So let's go full send. I know I am missing one pool bout against some girl named Rachel. Really nice. It was her first time doing saber. But I forgot to turn the camera on because they called me and I wasn't ready, and I was like, ooh. This kid was so raw. He ended up getting, I think, third. Yes, yeah, third at the tournament. But super good. And his dad gave me a little bit of coaching in my final DU when I was really struggling. So shout out the Low family. Again, it's the mangled parry post that I am not really enjoying. Um, looking at myself do. So we both go for what looks like a just a simple attack in the line, right? I caught that one not because I was looking to parry it, but because I guess I was going for a long attack, and he just happened to run into my guard. Sick parry three. Not the paramedics. Short. So that one, I pick up the blade, I think, right? And it's just like my arm motion or my parry motion is so circular and big, and I'm just running my wrist into his blade. So really, it should just be here, right? Manipulating the guard with the fingers, and I'm using like the entirety of my forearm and like kind of upper arm to make that parry, and that's why I'm getting caught out on it. Just too big. That's kind of like not like a complaint, but like a critique I have of myself in this tournament is like everything felt a little too big, a little too loose, in a bad way, like loose mentally, where anytime I was getting a touch, I was like, oh wow, I got a touch. It was never or very rarely, in this tournament was I like, yeah, I planned that, I premeditated it, and I took the touch. Is always like a relief that I got the touch. So, it wasn't the most feel good tournament, but what can you do? I think I got hit in prep. Oh no, I'm an idiot. D for doofus. Um, trying the same one again. And it's just way too close to right? Big search, and then I'm just offering him the flank, and it's just not going to work out at that distance. Stop plunging in the line or in the box. I'm gonna learn my lesson. I think after this one, I was just like, yeah, fuck plunging in the box. It's not gonna work. This is why you're 2022. Gotta take a second to mentally recover after that. I kept my arm out a little bit more, and then it's like it's so painful to watch these sometimes because it's like, dude, I just showed him search counterattack, fucked it up, and then I'm doing the same thing with even more strip to work with, and I'm like, oh, why isn't this working? I just wish I was more like mentally prescient in during these things. Ay, ay, ay. Not a great action. So he had just pulled me short on this last touch, so I was again, it's like a symptom of the tactical wheel stuff where it's like, okay, now I'm going to try to march him into a long attack. But he knew that, so he cycled ahead of me and hit me in prep. Yeah. Gather yourself all you want, guy. Yeah. Nope. And I think here too, it's like I like went too far in with the hand back, and like maybe if I leaned the tip forward a little bit more to make it look like maybe I was gonna finish, that could have worked out. But because like my hand was so like just obviously back, it's so safe for him to jump in for that prep. So even when you're going for a long attack, I would say give the arm and the blade a little bit. You might get, beat, but maybe you can disengage around that and finish. But if your hand is all the way back, it's pretty hard to spook them off of it and not get hit in prep. So that one didn't work out for me very well, but such is life. All right, next. Sam, come out a little bit faster. He's just waiting a little bit more. Um, there's a fine balance, between looking and being more proactive and actually starting and claiming actions in the middle. Looking feels safer, because you get to see by taking that like slower first step, you get to see like what action the other person has picked and then kind of go around that. The problem though is that you're always being reactive instead of proactive, so then it's easy to end up losing control, like overall control of the tempo in the middle, because you're always waiting for the other person to go first. So I think throwing in a few, looking most of the time is okay. Um, but definitely you got to throw in a few blind, 100% committed actions just to show, like, you can make something happen of your own volition, and that the other person might have to start looking as well. So, I cut down instead of forward and out, so just plucked my wrist. Good counterattack. I got very lucky there. That was 100% not planned. Again, it's like one of those ones where it's like, oh, wow, I got the touch. How fun. So I think I throw away my riposte again. Yeah, throw it away because I'm just a goober. And then this time I leave the arm out and I'm able to kind of like snag the wrist and lower forearm on the way out. So lucky touch, but we take those. We have to. And then I touched my shoulder because I was like, stop making it so big. Yeah. So again, it's like when I commit cleanly and firmly to an action, things work out. Crazy how that works. Nice parry. And again, it's like this one, that was really good on him because I'd been cutting to the same line on simple attacks like all night. And I'm sure you'd been watching me. So yeah, that was a great parry to pick up. Nice four. Nice. This time I actually do judge the distance correctly on that stutter step preparation, and I'm able to make a nice clean riposte off that. Yeah. Ooh, lucky, lucky, lucky. Backing away, right? And I kind of throw the arm out. I think I was like meaning for it to kind of be a counterattack, but it just turned into a parry like halfway through. That one went okay. And I believe this is the last of the pool bouts that I have right now. Is this recording? Yay. Yeah, this kid was so gnar. And he's a lefty, so I'm just like, oh my God. But I think I did a good job of not like losing my shit. Because I think it's like I know that every perceived disadvantage that I have when I'm fencing a lefty is like the same for them. Like I feel like, oh, anytime I go for any sort of line or disengagement, right? It's like or feint, their blade is already right here because we're on the same side. And it feels like they could just take my blade a lot quicker, which is true for me as well, fencing them, right? But I guess they just have more experience being in that kind of disadvantaged state. And it just melts my brain every time. But I think when I was going on guard, I made like a mental note to just be like, okay, like I'm not even gonna fence him like he's a lefty. Like I'm just going to like think about tempo and middle game. I'm not gonna worry about blade actions too much. It's not even my light this time. Why are you looking at your big parry? Or small parry, but big action for him. So yeah. Got I pulled him just short, so his front foot landed, and then he remised out, and thankfully the ref saw it. So
Right.
this guy had a fantastic long attack. It was just like very bouncy, and then he could accelerate and like hold the hand and make feints back here, and it would just be like, "Whoa, where's it going?" And yeah, so the entire time I've been watching this guy, I was like, I cannot let him get marches on me because the acceleration is just too much for me to deal with at my current skill level. And so I'm just gonna have to either shut him down in the box or end the action early with a counter attack. That was kind of my plan going into this one. There we go. And it's like it's kind of an okay action. Like the search to counterattack or circle search looking for a beat to counterattack. It's been working out. I just think that sometimes I'm a little eager to do it. Like it should really be like a once in about thing and then maybe change the timing on it, fake it a bit, and then like pull distance. But I think it's like I get it once and I'm like, oh, this works. Like I'm gonna do it again. So yeah, I'm just barely a little bit earlier with the hand. Anytime you attack kind of with the point just out a bit more, it tends to be yours over someone going for a cut over a thrust because it just looks straighter, it looks more committal, and it draws the eye a little bit more. So don't be afraid to turn the blade sideways and go for a chest thrust, or you can even hit shoulder, whatever. It just looks like it's coming out faster, even if the cuts are kind of arriving at the same time. Oh, yeah. Um, yeah, so this is my best touch of the night probably. He does the stutter step a lot better than me. I would love it if that's what my preparation looked like when I did that. But he holds the hand back really far when he marches, so I kind of knew that I could get away with um, a few more cheeky counterattacks. I think I still closed out in four, which is quite silly considering he's on the other side. Yeah, idiot. But it worked out. That was a wonky one. Um, I think I took two and then I wrapped around because he's here, right? So I took two and then I kind of slid around the bottom of it and like yoinked it like into his arm. Is very odd and like my body does like this weird like tossing motion. It was very odd. Right. Oh, let's watch that again because I'm eating those counterattacks. Yeah. So it's a bit wonky, but it's okay. So I believe I ended um the pools is 30 people total, so I ended up seating 10th after pools. So I was like, oh man, like maybe I can get my D because it was an A2 event. And 10 is the cutoff for getting a D. So let's see. For the sake of time, this is already running a bit long. We're gonna skip that first D just because I don't think there's a ton of like super interesting stuff in there to talk about. Um, we'll move right on to my second one. Um, it's quite sad. This is gonna be it's definitely one of the most like embarrassing bouts I've had in some time. Like this guy just like ripped me to shreds. I think he's like a B something like fences NCAA at Princeton. So it wasn't that surprising. Like I knew, or not like I knew, but it's like I figured I was like, all right, like maybe I won't win this one, but I'll at least put on a good show. And neither of those things happened. So, oh yeah, here we go. I'm not even Catholic. I don't even know how you do this shit, but one of those. Oh no. Okay. So yeah, that one was actually a decent takeover, but I just rammed like I came up into his guard and he took it. So that was just silly. Got to keep my eyes a little bit more open on that one. Same thing. I'm waiting a little too much, expecting to go for a long attack, and he's watching. He's able to hit me in prep. Ay, ay, ay. And honestly, the thing that like burned the most about this one is that this guy did not look, and like I'm sure he wasn't. He did not look like he was exerting himself at all. Like he was just kind of like chilling, going quite slow. And I think that was I talked to him afterwards, um, and he was like, I was like, oh, what am I doing wrong? Like in your opinion, like what is the biggest thing? Like, am I committing too hard to the middle, or what's going on? Or I was like, am I not committing enough to the middle? And he goes, oh, you're committing way too hard. He's like, I'm just watching you and I'm just pulling you short or I'm hitting you in prep every time. And this is something that happens to me a lot when I know that the person I'm fencing is like a pretty high skill level, like he's a B. And also I just been watching him fence the whole night, right? When I'm going into a bout against someone that I perceive to be of higher skill level than me, or just is, I'm like, okay, I have to go super fast. Like everything has to be jittery, everything has to be like super snappy and immediate. There's no time to think. And sometimes that is the case if that's the tempo they're showing you. But he was showing me a much slower tempo, and I could have afforded to take maybe like a smaller first step and look as well, or just run him over a little bit more cautiously. But yeah, that's something to be aware of. Always be cognizant and observant of the type of tempo the other person is fencing at, right? If they're looking and they're watching, the worst thing you can do is just go like running in as fast as you can, right? Because they're expecting that. They're watching for it. They'll pull you short. They'll hit you in prep, something. So fence each bout, as or according to the information presented to you in it. And I was not doing that here. Same thing. I'm coming in with no plan in mind and just hoping that he backs off so I can make a long attack. First attack, no, rest in peace. Up close. Yeah, it's like I step a little too hard on that first one because I was expecting to take a parry and then I was like, oh, you're backing up, puck. But yeah, tempo was not correct for that. Good thing Yvette Young wasn't here to see this one. Yeah, yikes. It's a pretty devastating one to watch. Oh, haha. That's fucked. Let's watch that one again so I can feel twice as bad. Yeah, boom, boom. Rest in peace, dude. Should have kept the arm up or out. Maybe I could have taken another parry. Yikes! All right, what did I do wrong here? Just bad. So yeah, it's pretty abysmal. Yeah, it is 0-8, and then uh Mr. Lowe comes over and he's like, if I may, and he's like, you gotta, he's just looking like just start stutter steps and then delay the entry points that way you don't get hit in prep and then just take over. It's like just commit hard and slow down a little bit. He's looking. Thank God for Mr. Lowe. He's the only fucking reason I got any points in this bout and saved myself from a 15-0 defeat, as the Brits say. Nil. That was in British. Oh, my one okay touch. So even though I'm still starting pretty fast, I'm not covering like a huge amount of distance like I was with most of my actions before. So I'm able to, delay my hand and then he takes the parry and then I just cut right over it. So thank you, Mr. Lowe. So nice stutter steps, then cut right over it. If I had just been able to do that over and over again, that would have been good. Yep. And it's like right there. Pretty foolish, right? Because I'm showing him the exact same type of preparation that I just showed him the touch before, and he knows that that kind of preparation for me is not going to lead to an immediate attack in the middle, because he knows that I'm preparing, so he can just hit me in prep right away, and then my parry is just way too late. So I should have taken a slower first step, let him miss, and then gone. But yeah, Against really good people, you got to mix it up a lot more. Even if you just won the touch before, it's like they're going to adjust to you based on what you just showed them. So now you got to show them something different that doesn't match what they were planning. Sounds kind of different. It's like I just stepped in really big. Abstain, abstain. Rip. Yeah, it's like I take too much of a pause right when I jump in. Oh, whoopsie. Too far back. So yeah, it's like I step in, and then I try to go again. And yeah, the tempo is just not correct for that. I give up the attack. Uh, yep. Not gonna work there. And that it's like his march is so hard to deal. Well, first of all, because he's just so goddamn tall. But that really gentle bounce, it's like it just allows him so much forward momentum on the down bounce. And I chose to counterattack right as he was coming down. So it was a very easy finish for him. Against people that are bouncing, if you must counterattack on them, I think first of all, it's a lot better to try and pull them short because the whole thing with bounce is that they're trying to finish with the counterattacks, maybe fake counterattack, pull distance. But if you must counterattack against them, you want to hit them while they're coming up. Because while they're coming up, they have less ability to travel forward, even with the hand, because they're displacing all their movement upwards, right? The worst time to do it is when they're coming down, because all that upwards energy is going squeezing into their thighs, and then they can explode off of that. So always hit them on the up bounce, if you must. Yikes. No good. Same thing. It's the same thing that happened with my touch against Ola. Is he takes a strong beat, and even though I still have a lot of strip to work with, I'm trying to like call his buff and being like, "Ooh, you're beating prepare." Um, but again, it would have behooved me a lot more, and I would have made maybe been able to pull him short if I had just been willing to concede that distance and start over again, right? You don't have to die on a fill, right? The only time you have to do that is when you're in the warning box, and I'll act like the entire strip is the warning box. So that's just another one of many bad habits to break out of. This 12-1. It's not looking good, but this could be the comeback of the century. Yikes! Just looking like a straight buffoon out here. Hooray. And only because you went for something cheeky like a skyhook. Yeah, take a minute to think, big dog. Yeah. And then I got some pity cheers in the background. Whoever said that, you're the realist. Yikes. So again, it's like I'm stepping in so big, covering so much ground on that first advance that there's just not enough time for me to match the hand or his hand speed and take that parry, right? If you're gonna parry, you gotta it's okay to commit a little deeper, like kind of as deep as I just did, but it has to be with more steps. It can't just be all in one big motion. There's just not enough time to adjust. Saber to me, or at least the way I think about it, is like you want to fit the most amount of actions per second per distance, if that makes sense. So it's like, you know, this is not like correct numbers or whatever, right? But it's like, let's say you want to cover 2 feet. You can cover that with one step or one advance, or you can cover it just like damn near at the same speed if you're good. But with more advances, and that gives you more time to adjust the hand and figure out what you're gonna do, right? If you take one big step, you're just gonna be like, all right, you lose parry. But if I'm taking like three small, fast advances to cover the same amount of distance, I'm going, okay, I'm gonna parry it. Oh, maybe I'm by the third one, I'm like, oh, he's not coming. Now I can go long, as opposed to just covering one big step. So you're trying to give yourself more actions and more tempos to think and to adjust with those steps. 14-2, who's it gonna be? It ain't gonna be me. Yeah, so fantastic parry there. The man did not sweat, I'm pretty sure. And I most assuredly did. So fuck me. Uh, Either way, a super, super fun tournament. Just so cool getting to watch Ola and Smith, that guy. Both of them are just absolute monstrosities. I believe he ended up getting his A, so congrats. Had to go through me to get his A. And so this kind of brings me to like my feelings about like the end of the tournament and stuff. Is I was just like really disappointed with the way I had fenced because, like I said, I didn't feel properly in control. I didn't feel like I was premeditating things as well as I could have. A lot of it felt like reflexive based. So I definitely want to be. I say this after like every tournament. Like next tournament, I'm gonna think. I'm gonna really use my brain and be in there. I'm gonna tap in. But yes, again, it's like I just want to continually be more cognitively present and prescient. I don't know if that's the actual word that I mean. I'm gonna have to look up the definition. But yeah, and so I ended up getting my D, right. I hit the cutoff because I placed 10th, and it's something I've wanted for like a really long time, and it just didn't make me feel as good as I thought it would. I'm like, it's super cliche, right? But it's like I sank into this thought pattern of like, oh, it took me 5 years to get this, and I just kind of fence like shit today, and I just happen to get a D. Like this isn't even really a real D and stuff, and I'm trying to practice, being kinder to myself and stuff. My buddy is always telling me he's like, treat yourself like you would a friend. So. And I'm thinking, it's like, what would I tell you guys? If one of you was like, I got my D, like I wouldn't be like, took you 5 years, fucking suck. It's like a D is a D, and I'll pat myself on the back just because I gotta uh live what I preach and all that. So I will have maybe another tournament in 2 weeks. So we shall see then. Hope you guys are having a good new year and also increasing your ranking, hopefully. Adios.
C'est notre relation, tout ça pour une chouin coco. Tu veux me